hello. Welcome. So today we are starting with essay 500, that is audit evidence. If you need these notes, that these are freely uploaded on the Telegram channel. Link is in the description. Okay, so let's start with essay 500, that is your audit evidence. Now, what exactly is audit evidence? So audit evidence is information used by auditor in arriving at the conclusion on which auditor's opinion is based. So of course, the opinion that we give during in our report, that has to be based on certain evidence that the auditor has gathered. So this is your audit evidence. Now your audit evidence should be sufficient and appropriate. What do we mean by sufficient and appropriate? You must have seen that everywhere we use these terminology, that is your SAAE, which means sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So your sufficient means it should be quantity wise, it should be enough, that is your amount of evidence that should be enough, and appropriate is the quality, that is it should be relevant, that is all the evidence that you have gathered, it should point towards the opinion that you are giving, it should be of good, of proper quality. So this is basically a quantity and quality when we talk about sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Okay, now what are your procedures to obtain audit evidence? Your procedures to obtain audit evidence are basically two. One is through risk assessment procedures, that is your RAP, and second is through further audit procedures, that is your FAP. Now your further assessment procedures is divided into two, that is your test of details and substantive analytical procedures. Okay, so test of details and substantive analytical procedures, we will be covering these later. Now what are your methods? What are your methods of obtaining audit evidence? So your methods of obtaining audit evidence range from inspection, observation, inquiry, this can be oral or written, external confirmation, this is your essay 505, analytical procedures. What is re-performance? Re-performance is you are re-performing any work that the management has already done, you will re-perform those to check whether they have performed the job correctly or not. And last is your recalculation, that is any figures that have been calculated by the management, you will recheck those figures by recalculating them. Now it says that inquiry can be oral or written. Inquiry consists of seeking information from knowledgeable person within the entity. Inquiry is basically asking someone within the entity or outside the entity. It is used extensively throughout the audit in addition to other audit procedures. So this is a supplementary. In addition to the audit procedure that you are performing, this is additional. They may range from formal written inquiries to informal oral inquiries. Sometimes you may need to understand the process, what process the entity is following. So that you can do via informal oral inquiries. Great. Now next is your auditor's duties. What are the auditor's duties? So basically there are three duties. Your first is information prepared using work of ME. What is ME? ME is not me. ME is management expert. So information prepared using work of a management expert. So how, whenever you use any audit evidence using your management expert, you will have to check the competence, capability and objectivity of the expert himself, because if you are using someone else's work, you will have to check whether that person is competent, whether he is capable. Then second is you will have to understand his work, you will have to obtain an understanding of the expert's work, you cannot just copy paste it. And third is your evaluate appropriateness of expert work, you will have to check whether the expert's work is relevant to your audit. Okay, is it appropriate? Now how will you check your competence, capability and objectivity of the expert? That is by a personal experience, discussion with expert, discussion with others and any published books or papers on him, about him or by him. Okay, then next is obtain understanding of experts work. How will you understand? So that will be based on area of specialty, applicable professional standards, legal and regulatory requirements. You will have to understand what assumptions, what methods he has used, and you will also understand what nature and source data is he used for his work, because you are using his work, so you will have to understand what base data, what source data has he used. And your last is evaluate appropriateness of expert work, that is findings and conclusions, assumptions and methods and source data. Okay, so you will have to evaluate the appropriateness, that is whether his work is relevant to you via these 3 points. Okay, now your second point are matters affecting audit procedures in case of information being produced using work of management expert. All these acronyms are already in the notes, so you can refer that page. It is in the starting of the notes. So matters affecting nature, time, and extent of audit procedures in case your information is produced using work of management experts. So how, what matters will affect, that is the nature and complexity of matter. So wherever you are using the expert, wherever you are using the work of the management expert, you will have to check as to what is the nature and complexity of that matter. If it is a complex matter, you will need your NTE of audit procedures will increase. If there is risk of material misstatement in the matter, if you feel that there is a risk of material misstatement, your nature, time, and extent will increase. Next is availability of alternative sources of audit evidence. So if you are using the management experts work and you also have another audit evidence, so you are able to collaborate both these evidence. You can cross check between both these evidence. In such a case, if there is more alternative sources available, your nature, time, and extent of work will also increase, because you will have to check whether this information is correct or not. Next is your nature, scope, and objectives of your management expert's work. You will have to understand what nature and scope was his work, so that you can determine whether you can use it or not. Whether management expert is employed by the entity or is a party engaged by it to provide relevant services, that is whether is it an employee or is it a third party. In case if it is an employee, that means your entity has some control over the management expert. Any work that he does will of course be reviewed by the entity itself. So in such a case, there might be threats to independence. However, if it is a third party, then he will have higher independence. What is next? Whether management expert is subject to technical performance standards or other professional or industry requirements. That is, whether your management expert is subject to any technical performance standard, that is his performance reviewed. So if he's subject to those technical standards, that means your nature, time, and extent of work will decrease, because there is a body keeping a check on his work. What is your next point? Extent to which management can exercise control or influence over the management expert. If the management can influence a lot of control on the management expert, this means that his work is influenced, that is there is no independence. In such a case, your nature, time, and extent of work will increase, because you can place less reliance on his work. And your last point is auditor's knowledge or experience of the management expert field of expertise. Depending on how much knowledge you have about the work that you are using, it will be easier for you to understand what he has performed, what assumptions he has done, what procedures he has followed. So greater knowledge would mean lower nature, time, and extent of work. And your last is information produced by entity. So your audit evidence, if it is the information produced by the entity itself, you will have to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence about the accuracy and completion of information, and evaluate whether information is sufficiently precise and detailed for auditor's purpose. You will have to check that the accuracy and completeness of the information that the management has provided, and whether it is detailed for the audit purpose. Okay, and coming to the last part of our essay, that is reliability of audit evidence. That is, how much reliance can you place on the audit evidence. So your first point is external evidence is more reliable than internal evidence, of course, because internal evidence is produced by the entity itself. It can be either inquiry or any data that you have received from the entity. However, external evidence will always be more reliable. Next is evidence obtained directly is more reliable than any evidence obtained indirectly. Okay, nothing to explain. Third point is evidence in documentary form is more reliable than oral evidence, because once you have documentary form, you can add it to your working paper. But oral evidence has no base, it has no supportings if you have to refer to it in the future. And last is evidence through original documents is more reliable than evidence in photocopies. Any evidence that you get through original documents will be more reliable, because your photocopies are obviously made from the original documents itself. So why not check the original documents? And with this, we are done with essay 500, and I will see you in the next essay, that is essay 501. Great. Like the video. Bye bye.